So we start with a piece of fabric that is 24 inches by 24 inches, or whatever size you want to make your doll. A 24-inch long piece of fabric is going to be folded over so that your doll, like Harriet, is going to turn out to be just about a 12-inch doll. And a shorter sheet, of course, would make her a little bit smaller. So we have one piece of material that I have then folded over, and I have cut little, maybe 1 inch, 3/4 of an inch, part of them, little strips, and I do the fold it over and cut it, fold it over and tear it, fold it over, because some materials, this material is a piece of sheet, I believe, and so it's woven, and the color is the same on either side. But many printed pieces of material, such as this one, have a good side and then a light side. So by tearing our little strips together, I'm going to end up putting those strips together when I make the doll. So I'll explain that in a little bit. Our second piece of material, which is going to be Harriet's arms. The big piece of material, 24 by 24, is going to be her body, and then her arms. I cut a piece of material that, this one actually is 12 by 12. So it's half the length of her body, just like our arms are the length of our body. Anyway, this one is 12 by 12. For some reason, I decided to make the red one a little bit longer. So this one just happens to be 12 for the length for her arms, side to side. And then 17. So this makes, and I wasn't sure really what I had done, because the truth is I really don't generally measure stuff. I just sort of do it. But in making this, I thought I better talk about that. So I like the fullness of the arms on Harriet. And there's a little bit extra on the ends that I usually clip off so that they will be pretty flat. And so we have our second piece. This one, as I said, is 12 by 17. And again, I've cut strips. And the strips are 1 inch. They are, a few of them look like they're almost a half an inch, but most of them are around 1 inch, 3/4 of an inch. And this is why I was talking about tearing them together. I'm going to grab a hold of the both together. It's folded, and I'm going to do my rip. This is such good therapy. Whoops, I have to hold it right. So I have one ripped. I'm holding them together. They're going to stay together. And then I'm going to do my next set. This particular cloth is not very friendly as far as being ripped, so we'll just make that work. And then some fabrics are much easier to tear. So here's another one, and I usually just grab it in the back and keep going with it. Maybe I'm doing it with my bum arm here. And I hope that you can see what I'm doing, and I'll do it backwards here. So now I've got my torn ones in my hand, and I've got my not torn one, which doesn't want to tear. So now we got something going. Just tear until we get them all done. And I still have them light side to light side, so that my good pattern side is going to be showing. And I probably should stop the video while I do this, but we'll just let it go. And I have this one little piece at the end that's going to end up either being tossed or being something else, depending on whether I can get it torn. There it goes. So I'm going to stick him down here in the middle. But now I have my arms set up with the good sides out, basically. And so I'm going to carry that on over to the other end, and I'm going to go ahead at this point and tie the ends. So let me get my tie material, and we'll clip off all of these cute little strings that are hanging down, and we'll get our arms made. Well, I realized in looking at that you may have missed part of it. It was up at the very top of the screen, but I hope that you're seeing enough that it's going to work. So these are arm pieces. I'm just going to trim off the ends. If I get some of the fabric, then that's fine, because we're going to trim the ends anyway. And I hope that you can see a little bit better now. So I'm going to again take a quick look and try and get any that are faced with the light colored out, turn back in, and I'm going to tie the end. I'm using this is the 100% natural hemp cord. You can use ribbon, you can use whatever you want. I like them to look fairly old, so I'm using an old look cloth, and I'm going to use the bigger ones. Maybe you can see it better. I'm just going to cut a little piece, and I'm going to tie probably maybe an inch and a half away from the end, and just put a little square knot on it. To tie them together. Eventually I'll be trimming this off probably again just a little bit, but we'll just tie a square knot on the end and trim off the little bit of hemp that's on there, the little string. Any kind of string is fine. And there we go. And excuse my band-aid, that was playing fiddle. After I hadn't done a whole lot of fiddle tunes, playing fiddle outside in a damp night, and I got a blister and I got a band-aid and all of this cute stuff. So now we'll get the other end, get a little bit, another piece, twist in just a little bit so that I'm covering up the light parts as much as possible. Again, I'm tying the end together. I'm not worried about getting them all just lined up just so, because I don't do it that way. Plus, this is a prairie doll. This is from a long time ago when people just did things. And that one I'll just give a little extra knot because I can't remember whether I did a square knot or not. So that one is a square ending on it. And we'll trim the ends of that. And this end is more messy, so I'm going to just trim that off, get rid of the ends. I'll need that again, so I'll keep that close. So now I have arms. And now it is time, and this fabric was not easy to tear, so I don't know how this one's going to go, but I'm going to give it a rip. And you know how we do that, so, and I'm putting them all together as I tear, and that may or may not work for you. It's just something I just started doing after a while when I realized that I didn't want to have to put all of these together. So I'm going to go ahead and rip these off camera so you don't have to listen to me struggle with this fabric, and I'll be back.